Thank you for listening to this podcast from TRE, Talk Radio Europe, your voice in Spain and around the world. For more information, please visit tre.radio.
TRE in the afternoon. Presented by Hannah Murray.
Good afternoon. It's just gone 5:05. You're listening to Men Talk. With me in the studio this week is Luis Gonzalez, Grant Joel and Steve Holmes. Hello.
Hello.
Hi. Thank you all for coming in. For anyone listening at home, if you have any comments on what we're talking about, you're more than welcome to get involved. Here's how.
To contact TRE, please call 952 78 4000. Email studio@tre.radio. Send us a WhatsApp on +34 645 99 67 95.
What a beautiful day, it's a wonderful life.
Okay, so last week on the programme with Women Talk, we were discussing Roald Dahl and talking about the fact that a lot of his books are being edited, so the use of language basically is deemed to be less offensive. This is the woke brigade that we're talking about here. Well, now there's an article moving on from the Roald Dahl row and talking about the Bond novels written by Ian Fleming. Anniversary editions of the James Bond novels have been edited. They've already done it to remove racial slurs from the original text. Offensive references to black people, including the N-word, have been ditched, although dated terms relating to other ethnicities remain. For example, Bond's disparaging views of Oddjob, a Korean, they're still in there. And phrases such as the sweet tang of rape and the description of homosexuality as a stubborn disability, they haven't been removed. And yet both of those things seem absolutely shocking to me. Obviously, the N-word is something that should never be used as well. So I get the fact that all of those things, language has changed and they are all offensive. But how do we feel about them being removed from the text?
Difficult one, I've got to say.
It is, isn't it?
Especially with a Bond film, because, I mean, the Bond franchise has just been phenomenal. The books Ian Fleming wrote, the 60s. As he was an ex-MI5 agent anyway, so he sort of knew the genre that he was going to write about, and mega popular books. But I mean, why we keep changing things that have happened? You know, and why do we keep going in history rather than going forward? I don't know. I don't know. What do you guys think?
What you said, we were just talking off air, Lewis, and because I wondered whether this was something that happens in Spain with books and texts being edited, and you were saying something about stickers being put on the front, which I think makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, well, it's not that like something generally happens because I don't research in the topic of the books.
No, fair enough. Yeah,
but I heard about it, and I see books aiming for, as I told before, books aimed for children. And if do you have a label in the book that this is a piece of their time, you don't have to take it as it is
literally
today. Like the sensitivity has changed.
Okay. So it's like a warning.
Yeah, exactly. Like you have to read it and take it for like the piece of their time it was written.
Yeah.
Sorry, rather.
I think that's a great idea. I think that's a really good idea.
So it is. I understand that maybe you have to adapt the book for new audience in the future and stuff. Younger audience also has a different sensitivities than others. For example, James Bond means for me is not a piece of my time. I'm younger, so for me it means nothing.
Yeah.
So if they change the Bond or make a new movie or new books adapted to my age or something like that, I wouldn't mind, because it's not.
Yeah, you wouldn't know what the reference of what it was before.
But
yeah,
I feel sad if if they took the original books and remove it, because it is like it's going to be lost forever. Or can I access the original one?
Yeah, exactly.
Or I wanted to get rid of it.
Yeah, I think the whole point is that they're editing it, so you can't get the original copies. They're wanting to change it because how it was originally written is deemed offensive.
Yeah, if in my opinion, if they do that, they remove access for the original piece. For me, it's a mistake.
think it's really interesting as well that a couple of weeks ago I was watching a black and white movie. I quite like watching black and white movies, and one of the films the guy had the Dan Busters film. His dog was called an offensive word, which you wouldn't use now.
Yeah.
But they'd left the word in on when they were, and it actually stuck out.
Yeah.
Whereas before I'd never even noticed it. You know?
Yeah.
So I suppose there is a point to it. You know. At some point.
Yeah.
But there you go. I suppose.
What is called the Streisand effect.
Yeah.
If you call attention to something you want to censor, suddenly everybody is going to find out.
Yeah. Well, on that, I find it bizarre how much music is made today with swearing in it. Yeah. It's like literally every week I pick a song of the week, which is a new piece of pop music that I find. I think, I like this, so I learn a bit about the artist if it's an artist I haven't heard of before, and play the song every day. But every single time I pick a new song, I have to check the lyrics. To make sure, because it can be a well-known artist like Pink, an artist that you don't necessarily expect to swear, and they've got swearing in it, so I have to make sure there's a radio edit version, a clean version. Why do they all need to swear all the time? It used to be every so often, or just rap artists. Now it's everyone, all the women, they all do it.
It's really strange that, because literature's being changed, old literature's being changed. Old music doesn't have that content, but new music does.
Yes.
It's weird.
It is weird. Yeah. It is. Old music never used to have swearing in it, did it?
No, not
Sex Pistols did, for definite.
Yes. No, that was yes. There you go.
I remember being very young, sitting in the living room with my parents, and my dad brought home the latest Sex Pistols record, and we played it with my mum sitting in the room. And I won't tell you exactly how it started, but the first 6 words were... were cutting.
Yes.
And my mum sat there and she said, well, you can take that back.
Oh gosh, it's weird, isn't it, how all that's changed. On a similar kind of subject, there was an interview with Joanna Lumley, Dame Joanna Lumley, I think she is now, and she was talking about Absolutely Fabulous. Are you familiar with that, Lewis? The
Absolutely
TV?
Fabulous, no.
No?
I don't know.
It was so does this picture mean anything to you? No? No, fair enough.
Sorry.
No, I'm sorry. No. So it was basically about 2 women who used to swig out of a bottle of vodka, used to smoke cigarettes, used to snort cocaine, and were living, or trying to be living the high life, shall we say. They worked in like fashion PR, and they wanted to be seen as like the women about town, but they were never really quite there. Yeah. But the whole thing was supposed to be a kind of satire, like they weren't saying that this is the way to live at all. Very much the opposite. But the actress is saying that there's no way that TV programme would be allowed to be made today with the characters like that, because people would see it as, how can you be glamorising that kind of life, especially the drugs aspect. But I was thinking, the amount of films or crime dramas that we watch on television all the time always have people doing drugs and smoking and heavy drinking and things like that. So I thought, why is it that comedy can't do that anymore? Why is it okay for drama but not comedy? I don't know. I
think comedy is actually in a very dangerous place at the moment, in the sense that, to be a stand-up comedian now must be a nightmare.
Yeah, you can't say anything.
You can't do anything. And that Ab Fab programme was an exaggeration or a caricature of something that probably didn't exist to that extent anyway.
Exactly.
So, I don't know.
Exactly.
It just strikes me that people tend to be at the moment super sensitive.
Yeah.
But it's almost unnecessarily so. Why are we? I mean, it was humour. It's based on humour. It's light-hearted and it's humour. So, we can all take offence from any single thing every single day if we choose to do that. But actually, if you think, well, this is based on humour, it's supposed to be funny. It's not aimed at any specific type of person. I just think we're oversensitive for the sake of being oversensitive now. We just look for it. If you look for it, it's out there every single day, wherever you go. Yeah. But you don't have to act on it all the time. You just think, well, that's humour. If people find that funny, that's fine.
But sorry, Benja. I don't know if I interrupt you.
No, it's fine. It's fine. It's all good on this show. Interrupt away.
I'm really interested in the name of the show or the character.
It's called Absolutely Fabulous.
Absolutely Fabulous. But they presented this character, because I guess since a character. They present it like as something virtuous, like something a role model to.
No, definitely not.
Also, the punchline was that she thinks she was high of herself, but she was in secret a loser or something like that. She was.
I mean, it wasn't even in secret. They were very kind of in-your-face characters. They'd walk into a room and everyone would look at them.
So
because
that's the point of the character.
Exactly.
All right. So that made me think, like, as you said before, that if you look into it, you can be offended by anything if you want to. This phone my mobile phone offend me because it's too wide for my little fingers.
Yeah,
I can be offended for really
definitely,
whatever.
Definitely.
So that made me. That says more. What is it saying? That says more of the people who get offended than the material at the hand.
I don't know,
the topic of hand.
Yeah,
like you said, a stand-up comedian. And today is a namer. You cannot say anything but something offending someone.
Must be very tough to go through life being offended.
Yeah, it's really tiresome. So.
Yeah, who wants to be offended?
Exactly.
I don't.
Exactly.
There's a lot of people out there that really enjoy it, don't they? They look for something to be offended about to then start kicking off, and it becomes a trend.
Yeah.
It becomes a trend. I think it's a tragedy of life at the moment.
It is a shame. At the same time, I wouldn't want to offend anybody.
No.
Do you know what I mean? So it's
exactly.
but I feel like at the moment you have to be really kind of conscious of not offending someone instead of just having this is the thing. I was going to say a light-hearted joke, but if you're offending someone, it's not light-hearted to them, is it? That's the thing. We sort of
must be very difficult in your job at the moment.
Yeah,
you've got to be very careful of where you go with any conversation.
Yeah,
especially the people you interview.
Yeah. Well, at least I can blame them if it's them.
Absolutely. Yeah. We'll blame.
Some people get offended a lot easier than others.
It's not my fault. We'll take a break and we'll be back talking about fitness and exercise.
Hannah Murray on TRE in the afternoon.
Good afternoon. You're listening to Men Talk. With me in the studio today, Luis Gonzalez, Grant Joel and Steve Holmes. And we have Nick on the line from Mallorca. Hi, Nick.
Hi there. Hi.
So you were just asking about the... will you tell the listeners what you were saying to me?
Well, just what you've been discussing about the Woke Brigade, rewriting history in a way, changing literature because of this sort of allergy that we've got now to people being offended by things. I've never really heard anybody explain in an understandable way, at least to me anyway, what being offended actually means. What is it? And when did we start getting offended all of a sudden? I can understand people being insulted if things are said in a malicious way, but I recognise that movie that one of your guests was talking about the guy's black dog that he has to get it put down.
Yeah,
I can remember as well, and that dog's name was the N-word, and I know that's been taken out of James Bond novels, but yet I can watch a movie where people of colour, as I'll call them, refer to each other as the N-word.
Yeah.
Well, that's just confusing to me.
Yeah, I understand what you mean. I suppose the idea of being offended. I mean, let's go back in the day of the 80s, and there was a lot of male comedians that did jokes about mother-in-laws, for example. If you were a mother-in-law that happen to be a nice person, or maybe not, you might be offended, thinking, why is he always being horrible about mother-in-law? Just because you're mother-in-law, it doesn't mean you're a horrible person, or you have a weird relationship with your son, or you don't like your daughter-in-law, or, there are obviously loads of really lovely mother-in-laws out there. So I suppose a mother-in-law could be offended by jokes about mother-in-laws. I guess that's what offence is, isn't it? Do you think?
Yeah, I suppose kind of, but what that then means is that comedian wasn't actually talking about that particular mother-in-law who got offended.
Oh, absolutely.
They are getting offended by proxy almost, which is then, it puts it into that grey area. My only worry about changing literature in the past and pulling down statues of questionable historical figures is that I believe that if we are to evolve and learn from, yes, what I totally agree are some very, very shady periods in our history. If you erase it, how are we going to learn from it? If we look back and it's not there anymore?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
How can you cross the river and look back to see where the stepping stones are, but they've all been removed?
Yeah, no, that's true. Agree with you totally. I think the panel does too.
Yeah, well,
we do.
It's funny because I asked. I have a chat with Mary the other day, talking about this topic actually, to historic figures that were like granted. Like,
let me just say goodbye to Nick. Thanks, Nick. Thanks for your call.
Thanks, Hannah. Thank you.
Bye bye. Sorry, Lewis.
So, no worry. I didn't know this. There's historic figures like we get for like has a really big history behind, like Cristobal Colón or Gandhi or something like that. And you study his biography or his history.
Yeah.
To do the things that they do. For example, Gandhi, obviously a peace-loving guy who do really good things in his life or whatever, but he also he has been married with underage children. He has like 2 or 3 wives, 14, 15, 16 years old, but that take away from the things that he did or not. Also,
you don't hear that being talked about, do you? It's
exactly.
interesting.
Every historic figure has his light as his shadows, and trying to erase the shadows that is like trying to feel better of ourselves.
Yeah.
To separate from these historic figures, and they were humans as we are humans. So everyone has light and shadows, and the people who are more interested in erasing these shadows of history is because maybe he has a lot of skeletons in the closet. Maybe the people who are more intrinsic going into.
But going back to what you were saying, Hannah, you mentioned mother-in-law as an example.
Or blonde. Yeah. There's loads of blonde jokes.
There's loads out there.
I don't get them personally.
But surely, and going back to this oversensitive thing, if I heard something on the radio that say it was about father-in-laws, let's say, for argument's sake, for me, and I could think, well, that's not really true about me. That's, I wouldn't necessarily be offended by that because I would think, well, that's not me. Exactly. I'm very comfortable with the fact that, I'm a good father-in-law, whereas there could be some that are bad father-in-laws.
Yeah.
So I just think, well, if you're comfortable with yourself and who you are and what you're doing,
very true.
Why are you going to be so sensitive about people saying certain things that aren't actually finger-pointing at you directly? Yeah. I just, this whole thing around, I'm not happy with that. You're putting me in that label. Well, that's your problem. It's not anyone else's problem. That's yours.
Yeah,
that's how I see it.
It's true, and you don't need to kind of stand up for other people or stand up for society or be offended on other people's behalf. And a lot of the time, that's what it is.
Yeah, I noticed this change of mentality because when I was little, because I guess I'm the younger here. Because
really say that.
Sorry.
Why would you say that?
Because
I'm offended by that.
I'm offended
too. No. I wasn't meaning it. I wasn't going out of my way to offend anyone. Sorry, but I noticed this change of mentality when I was little. I heard people getting offended in my family circles or my friends. People, this offend me, whatever. And in the response of everybody around was, well, that's your problem. You are not changing reality.
Yeah.
So that's, if you are offended, it's your problem. If you're offended, check it out. Look into yourself.
That's
if
right.
you're offended.
It's true, unless someone's being horrible to you personally.
Exactly.
And in which case, offence is okay.
Something is that something offends you, or because I don't go out of my way in my life, in my daily life, trying to offend people.
Yeah.
So if I see someone maybe missing an arm or a leg, I don't make jokes about limping people just to him to laugh about it. I don't go out of my way to be mean to people.
I think the ease of being offended, it's not the ease of being offended, I think it's the ease of being able to register you're offended. It's different now. If you were offended something in the 70s, you'd have to get your book out, write a letter, post it, etc., etc.
Yeah.
Now you just pick up your phone and complain.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So it's-
Post it on social media.
Social media is
Yeah.
it's an anti-social media sometimes. you know.
Okay, let's move on to something very different. Exercise. There's an article here about this guy who says he gets up at 3 a.m. to run a marathon every day and then goes to work. And I interviewed someone just last week who did exactly that same thing for a whole year. Ran a marathon every day before work. And this guy talks about his day. 3 a.m, wake up, drink protein shake, feed the dogs and get ready. 3:40 a.m, start running. 8:40 a.m, get home, shower the dogs if muddy. 8:59 a.m, I love the preciseness of it. It's very clever, isn't it? Breakfast, 2 bagels with jam and cheese. Drink recovery shake. 9 a.m, start work. Blah, 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 blah. He's in bed by 7. And I just kind of looked at that and thought, what a dull life. I mean, impressive, but like to be doing that every day. I mean, he doesn't seem to be seeing it. I mean, I don't know if it's just for the sake of article, but he's like got no social life. He doesn't see his family. He doesn't. I mean, yeah, that's commitment, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's an addiction as well. I think
it must be. It must be.
It's getting up every morning at that time to do exercise every day.
Yeah,
you've got to be just addicted to it, I guess.
You must be. So, Grant?
Well, I was just thinking, whenever I hear anything like that, and it is, it's quite bizarre. It certainly wouldn't be how my lifestyle would be. But I always just think, if he's happy doing that,
yeah, good for him.
Because if he's happy, then that's a gift for yourself. And if it makes him happy, and exercise is a fantastic way of living your life if you base it around that.
And as far as addictions go, it's probably one of the best ones to be addicted to, isn't it?
But I mean, just good luck if he's happy and people are happy doing what they do. Good luck to him.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Grant's not offended by any of that.
I'm not offended by any of it. I would read that and think, fantastic.
I'm a little offended that I cannot have this commitment. this lifestyle offends me a little bit now.
It is incredible, isn't it? I mean, wow.
There's people that work his mind work in routine, being very routine, very religious with his time management.
Yeah.
And our people work better in chaos. Like I have everything running around. I have an hour for anything, and they function and they work better in chaos. And some people work.
We're all
better
individuals, aren't we? We're all individuals, So what works?
I can't imagine getting up at 3 a.m. It was hard enough getting up at 6:30 a.m. for the breakfast show for 9 years. Never mind 3 a.m. I could have got up 2 hours earlier and exercised.
And you didn't run to work, did you?
No, I didn't.
If I woke up at that time in the night, because it's night, is something wrong with me. I go to the bathroom and I have to check myself up. When are you getting up this?
Right, so moving on to something different. This is fashion. So hold on, that's separate. That's that one's that one. Okay, these two kind of go together. So I was going to say both of these articles to discuss with the women on Women Talk, but then I thought I'd ask you for not from the point of what you want to see in women because you're buying men's clothes. So I thought I'd ask you from a male model or male mannequin point of view. So there was a big thing years ago in the fashion industry talking about the fact that they only use skinny models. So it's only skinny models on the catwalk, and when you go into a shop, the mannequins are always skinny, and the fashion industry kind of said, the clothing kind of hangs better on a skinny person. But then real women and real people were saying, well, we want to see women of different shapes, different body types, shorter women, larger women, all that kind of stuff. So they started to kind of introduce it a bit, but we're kind of seemingly seeing it less and less. So there's two articles here. One looking at models. They're using Rosie Huntington Whiteley as an example, who's obviously stunning and about, I don't know, mid-30s, 40, something like that. Yeah. And then they're showing a much older woman who has a normal body, shall we say. Mm-hmm. And they're kind of saying, do you want to see models who look more like this or more like this? So forget the female models for now. Think about male models. So if you were looking going through a magazine or a newspaper and there were photographs of male models just, wearing clothes, would you would you care? Would you be interested? Would you notice the size of these male models? And at the same time, going into shops, if the mannequins were shorter and slightly larger, would you find that odd? Or would you think, oh, wow, there's a larger model? Do you know what I mean? Do men think about this kind of thing?
Well, there's something comes to me. I don't know if it's related, but I think it is related because I don't remember if I saw in a video or an article I read that, but there's obviously biological differences between men and women. Mm-hmm. Because our minds work different, and it was explaining which path of education choose men and women and higher studies and stuff. And they said men are more interested in things, and women are more interested in people. That's why women and men is never going to be 50-50 in each area of jobs, interviews and stuff. So when that's applied to this topic is like when I go to see some clothes or going through magazine stuff, I'm more interested in if it is my size, if it is work for me, if I go running, or if it is good, is get wet in the rain or something. I'm more interested in the thing.
So you wouldn't really notice the size of the model.
I don't know, and I think being woman, which are more interested in people.
I think if you look at a magazine or you watch a TV ad and there's a guy that looks, absolutely perfect, ripped, etc., etc. You look at that and think, oh, that jacket would look good on me, And when you get the jacket on, you think, maybe I need to do a marathon like that other guy. And I think it sells, doesn't it? I mean,
it does.
Models sell. Look at the adverts on TV at Christmas time for aftershave and stuff. I mean, we all buy aftershave and we're going to get that girl, but it never happens. But it's just advertising.
Yeah. So, it works, doesn't it? Sadly,
it does.
I really desperately want to go. No, we want to see larger, older models. But I'm not sure. I have to be honest, because that's what the programme's about. I wouldn't be offended by it, and I'm well aware if I'm looking at a model that's like really skinny wearing a dress and she looks amazing, I can know pretty much by looking at her and the dress that it would absolutely not look the same on me. Yeah. Absolutely, and probably for various reasons wouldn't suit
guys
me.
Don't
wouldn't
think
look...
like that. Guys think that'd look great on me, not the dress, obviously.
Yeah. So but then if I saw. Oh, it's so difficult because I don't want to offend anyone. You see, we're back to that.
Go for it.
But I don't know if I would. Oh, I don't know. I'll shut up. Someone else speak.
Well, I've never seen a short, fat male mannequin.
No.
Yet. So I mean,
Same.
It's difficult to say whether I'd be thinking, ooh, or whether I'd be thinking that would be great. It's usually associated to women, isn't it? Really, the models, apart from, as you say, the guys that are really ripped and super fit. But if I saw it, I don't think it would worry me too much. I would just think, oh, well, that's interesting. At least that's giving people with a different build a different chance.
Yeah, exactly.
To see what they might look like.
Yeah.
Why not?
I think most of us who care about clothes, buy clothes, enjoy shopping for clothes, whether that's male or female. You kind of get to a point where you know what suits you and know what doesn't. So regardless the size of the model, you can kind of look at the style of clothing and know whether it's going to suit you or not. So I think we can kind of...
I've seen some people wearing outfits that obviously haven't got that ability.
No, that's true.
They put an outfit on that would look amazing on someone else, but
was that my jacket?
Doesn't quite look the same on them. And you think, have you looked at
Have you got a mirror? Yeah. It's a weird one, that, because I'm conflicted with that, because I agree, and I'm sure everyone will have had that thought at some point. But then I also kind of think, well, you know what? Like what you said about the marathon guy. If they're happy, if they enjoy what they wear, brilliant. Yeah. Who are we to say, oh, you don't look right, you haven't got the right body type for that dress or whatever? If they're happy in it,
as long as we just think it to ourselves and not say, excuse me, have you seen yourself?
Yeah, exactly. That's not good.
Then
definitely
that's
not right.
You've got a reason to be offended.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Any more on this? We better take a break, actually. We'll take a break. We can do more after the break.
Hannah Murray. TRE in the afternoon.
Good afternoon. You're listening to Men Talk with me in the studio today, Luis Gonzalez, Grant Joel and Steve Holmes. If you're listening at home and you'd like to get involved, here's how.
To contact TRE, please call 952 78 4000. Email studio@tre.radio. Send us a WhatsApp on +34 645 99 67 95.
What a beautiful day. It's a wonderful life.
Okay, Jo Whiley, female DJ in the UK, has spoken about refusing to grow old gracefully, insisting I'll be wearing the same clothes in my 80s as I did in my 20s. She says she was inspired by designer Dame Vivienne Westwood and specials singer Terry Hall and their refusal to slow down as they got older. So yeah, this is about whether, again, it's something I was going to say for the women, but I thought, no, I'll ask you guys, because do you kind of have those thoughts of thinking, oh, I'm too old to wear that now? You know, are there kind of shops that you think, yeah, I don't kind of go, because women certainly think these things. So I thought it was interesting to ask you whether you think about dressing for your age or you don't care. If it's a colour you like, if it's a style of jacket you like, you don't think about your age.
There's something about giving in to age, isn't there, for me? I'm knocking on probably the oldest person in the room.
That's gonna follow me all day. It's going to follow me.
But I think, yeah, there's something about, not wanting to give in. So, I will look at really what I think are like trendy shirts and clothes for when I go out. And you know what, if it fitted okay, I would be very comfortable wearing it. And I don't know whether that stems from my upbringing, but my dad, I always felt was quite a smart man and, quite trendy. And I always remember, people commenting on that. So maybe there's something behind that for me. But yeah, I just think, yeah, if you look okay in it and you feel good, then yeah, go for it, absolutely, yeah. I mean, what you don't want to do is make yourself look silly, but I think if you've got enough sort of social awareness and you'll have a good idea of whether it looks.
I think as when you get older as well, you don't want to sort of walk into a room and be the centre of an attention, so you're not going to wear something crazy, but you're going to wear something that, like you said, you're comfortable with, fits well.
Yeah.
It's not your granddad's old jacket with leather patches on the sleeves and all that sort of stuff. It's just being comfortable in what you wear. But do you want to stand out? Not particularly when you get a bit older. I don't know. Maybe you do.
Yeah. Some might.
Grant might. I don't know.
I quite like standing out.
Yeah, Grant normally stands out with shirts. But you have great shirts, Grant. I always love you. You do always get compliments with your shirts.
It's funny because people expect it. So there are places where I'll go and they'll go, oh, I haven't seen that one before. That's it. Yeah. Where'd you get that from? Where'd you get these shirts?
Yeah.
So it becomes a bit of almost a bit of a joke, really, and a bit of a fun thing. Yeah. But I mean, I don't do it actually to just be the centre of attention. I just actually quite like
the shirt.
That kind of look. If I can carry it off, then I'll probably carry on doing it.
Do you ever think about it, Luis?
Yeah, I think about it in functionality. Yeah. It depends. Each cloth has its own purpose. So I just, as you said, it's social awareness. If I want to stand out, I dress like I want to stand out and call attention to me. If I don't want to, I don't want to. It all depends on the functionality. If it is your objective, go all like this lady and call attention to yourself.
Yeah.
Or make yourself notice because it's your job, maybe you're DJ or whatever. That is the function of your clothes. That's it.
I think it must be, in a way, harder for women just from the point of view of skirts and dresses.
Yeah.
I think that kind of thing. That makes a difference. Like when you're wearing a skirt or a dress, thinking about your age. I remember going into various shops and looking at kind of like white kind of what's the material? Not lace. I can't think of the material, but like white kind of skirts that are kind of knee length, that have got lots of layers to them and things like that. And I'm absolutely loving them in my 20s, and going into a shop in my mid 30s and trying it on and just thinking, am I too old to wear things like this now? I'm not sure. But then I think it can come back to weight and self-esteem and things like that, because you can see women wearing short skirts in their 70s who look absolutely amazing, and you don't think for one second that they're too old to be wearing it at all, because they carry it off superbly.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of it, again...
Maybe it's confidence as well, as you dress off. Maybe it's the self-esteem, as you said.
Look at some of the ladies in Marbella and well, the area we live, and the ages that they are, and they look absolutely stunning.
Yeah, exactly.
Good luck to you, go for it.
Yeah.
I'm all for it.
So we shouldn't have to worry about our age when
I think it's what you wear and where you wear it. I mean, last week I was back in the UK on business, and I went into an office with a suit. I didn't have a tie on, but I had a suit on, and everybody in the office must have been late 20s, if that. And it was a bit like walking in a Google scenario. Nobody had any sort of formal dress whatsoever.
Really?
So I felt out of place in what I thought was normal. So
interesting.
You don't know.
Yeah.
Well, that's what they promote now, don't they? They don't promote suits and stuff in the offices these days.
No, all about feeling comfortable.
Yeah, it's all about being comfortable and being yourself.
Interesting. So let's move on to talk about the fabulous, interesting subject of money. This article was written by a woman, but I thought it was an interesting subject to talk about. The headline is, "Why taking stock of your cash every 2 weeks is the secret to a happy bank balance." She's a mother of 3, and she says her budgeting tips mean that she can always afford to treat her family. So she makes lists, she gets her calculator out, she knows exactly all the money that's coming into the household every month from whoever, all the money that needs to go out with regards to the bills. She's got lists of if the kids are going on school trips and things like that, and who's going to get what, like really, really organised. I looked at this and just thought, my goodness, am I doing something wrong? Does everybody do this?
Yeah, no.
No? Oh, good.
I don't know.
Phew, thank you very much. I mean, is it something that you have done? Is it something that your partner is more likely to do? Is it a woman's thing, do you think? Or is it not something?
I'm always very aware of my finances. Always.
Okay.
So I don't know really where that comes from, but yeah.
As in, like, making lists so you know kind of what's coming in and what's going out and stuff.
Every day I check the work account and the business, my business account, the work account that I have jointly, and every day it's just a part of my routine.
Okay.
So I'm I would say very consciously aware of exactly where I am. Most of the time, I could tell you pretty much if you ask me, that's that.
Yeah.
And then the end of this week, it'll be that.
Yeah. And that's good. That's good to be like that.
Because I don't do it. I don't think out of worry or anything. I just think it's a habit. It's something I've done since I've been self-employed.
Yeah.
I think somebody in the household needs to be a bit in doing that sort of thing. Maybe not quite as rigid as the lady speaking about there, but certainly having some control in a household of money coming in, etc. And that control is certainly not me in my house, that's for sure. But it keeps the ship afloat, basically.
It's important to know where you are.
In my case, it's exactly the same as you. Because I know I tend to go positive about it, because always at the end of the month or the end of the year, I do my balance of the year. I don't do it daily but at the end of the year, I do my balance of my business and how much I spend and stuff. Not exactly. More like average.
Yeah, okay. So a rough idea.
If the balance is all right, it's all right. If the balance is negative, I have to change things the next year. So that's my that's my tip.
Once a year.
Once a year. It's not too good, but it works for me. It works for me.
Yeah. We have one more ad break to take. We'll be back the other side.
Hannah Murray, TRE in the afternoon.
Good afternoon. You're listening to the last part of Men Talk. With me in the studio today, Luis Gonzalez, Grant Joel and Steve Holmes. We've got just under 10 minutes left, and there's an article here. So sticking on the subject of money, the headline is, "Being spoiled by my rich friend makes me feel like a charity case. So is it my pride or am I jealous?" I read the article because I thought I was trying to understand exactly where she was coming from and her background and everything. And she said that throughout her life she's gone through phases, as most people, of having more money and then not having as much money, and different stages of life and jobs. And she is a single woman, and she's really good friends with a couple, so the woman primarily, but the husband as well. And this couple have a lot more money than she does. They both have really good jobs, and they both have a lot of money. So they often take her out for dinner. And they have a place in Spain, it says, and they say you can use it whenever you want. And they're really, really generous, really, really nice couple. And she's been enjoying their generosity for years, but now she's starting to feel kind of uncomfortable with it. So she's trying to understand why she feels uncomfortable with it. And I just thought it was an interesting kind of subject to explore, the whole thing about different situations that you may or may not have been in throughout your lives when you didn't have money, and how you would feel if friends were saying, we'll treat you to dinner, that kind of thing, or in the situation where you have had more money, whether you have or do treat your friends, and how, that kind of makes you feel and how it might make them feel. I don't know. I thought it was an interesting discussion point. Go.
Well, I don't feel related at all. I don't have friends with a lot of money, and I don't have either, so I cannot feel related. But I think that she comes from a point of self-worth or self-doubt of herself. That what I'm worth for. If mostly if they have the same age, something like that.
Yeah.
This couple, a friend of mine, have a lot of money. They really go to under life, and I'm at this point that I have not a lot more of money to go around. So I am enjoying this generosity. So that says to me. What it says to me that I'm in this situation, enjoying this.
But if you went out for dinner with friends, and at the end of the night your friend said, "Listen, we'll get this. This is on us."
That's okay. That's one and a couple. But you said that in the article she explained that she goes to the house in Spain and receive a lot of money and generosity. I figure in my head that this is like a really extreme case of really to make you feel bad about it. There has to be a really big difference of
if it's just
money.
Every so often, it's not a big deal.
If it is something dinner in the afternoons or something like that.
I think it's also to do with how the generosity is given by the person. If it's done in a genuine sort of friendship sort of way, that look, I'm here to help you out, it's not a problem, it's not going to hurt me, it's fine. Or if it's I'm gonna buy you dinner again, and look how rich I am. I'm going to share my wealth with you. It just depends on the giver, I think. Maybe. I don't know.
I think it's a lovely thing to do and to be able to do. I've been in both situations, I think, in my life, and I think it's really nice to buy presents for friends and treat friends and say, I'll get this and I'll get that. I think it's lovely to do. So it's nice to be able to do it, and it's obviously lovely not when people do it back. I don't mean it should be a two-way thing, but if people do it for you, it's nice. And I think if you're willing to kind of accept it and enjoy it, then if and when you can, it's nice to be that kind of person as well, as opposed to always just taking.
I think it's relative, isn't it? I mean, if the person, your friend who's obviously very wealthy, and it's not an issue for them, and they want to do that for you, why not? It seems okay to me. If I had not that I have, and I need to find one quick, but if I had a really wealthy friend who wanted to take me on their yacht and to go to another country and whatever, and they want the company and they've got plenty of money and it's no hardship on them, it'd be fantastic, wouldn't it? And I'd like to think if I was in that in that environment where when I win the lottery, I have those, I'd be more than generous.
You'd want to treat your friends, wouldn't you? You'd want to share it.
You'd want the people you like around you, wouldn't you? So where's the harm? I think it becomes a bit different when it's a bit tighter. The gap is a lot narrower, and then I think people can maybe start to feel a little bit differently about it. But again, it's quite a personal thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think also the person receiving the gift or the dinner or the the voyage on the yacht or whatever is valued by the person that's giving the money anyway, because they're a genuine friend and they want your company, and they're not interested whether you've got the money or not.
Exactly. It should be a nice thing all round. We've got 3 minutes left, so really, really quickly on this, if you've got anything to say. We discussed this with the women last week, and I was interested getting your points. It's Joanna Lumley again, another article. She's 76, and she was just basically talking about how she's learned to banish stress from her life. And it just sounded like a lovely thing to be able to do. And she just said the older she's got, the more she just doesn't care about what people think. And she just either wants, if there's an issue, she either wants to kind of squash it straight away, have it out, or not. But either way, she doesn't lose sleep over things. And I thought that was a nice kind of way to be.
I just think, again, it's relative. For me, stress and anxiety, it kind of comes in levels. And I think at a certain level you can deal with stress quite well, and you get a little bit higher and you can go, okay, then I'm not going to worry about it, I'm not going to do this, I'm going to do that. And you get to a certain point where it becomes something that you actually can't deal with yourself, when it becomes too much. And so I just always see stress and anxiety as levels, really, and once those levels get too high, it becomes much more difficult to be able to tell yourself, which is exactly what you need to do, but be able to tell yourself, I can deal with this and it's fine. I think it becomes something that you can't actually do when it becomes too much and it's too overwhelming.
But then you need to ask for help.
Yeah, I think then you've got to look for look at your options. But I would imagine where Joanna Lumley is in her life at the moment, very luckily, she's probably not got those kind of really huge stressors. So her stress levels might actually be let's say 50 or 60%. And when it gets to 60, she goes, well, I'm not really worried about that. I can deal with it. It's fine. Whereas people who get to 80 or 90, they're on the what I would call the edge of is this going to be sort of breakdown territory? That's the way I see it.
Yeah,
I think Joanna Lumley's a great example of the sense of that. Maybe when she was a 26-year-old actress, she had a lot more stress than how old is she? 75, 76 now. Actress who can name a part, who can get what she wants, and is really comfortable where she is. And I think that does come with age.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely.
I was thinking about it, that if you go to that point, that you can say, I'm not going into stress or anything. It's like a symptom of a good emotional, healthy emotional, and everything balance, emotional balance. Because if you are in emotional imbalance, like a little 10%, 20% stress is going to throw you up. So
we're done. Thank you very much, guys. Great to have you all in the show today. And I will actually be back tomorrow morning covering for Dave on Daybreak. So I'll be back on the airwaves at 8 o'clock. Other than that, enjoy the rest of your Thursday. I normally say happy weekend at this point, but I'm not quite there yet. So I'll see you tomorrow.
You've been listening to a TRE production. If you've enjoyed this programme, there'll be another episode waiting for you next week, right here on this platform, where you can also access our extensive back catalogue of shows and interviews. For more information on our live programming, social media channels and apps, and how to contact Talk Radio Europe, please visit tre.radio.